Hello, hello, and welcome back to Business Beyond the Matrix, where we share how to lead your business intuitively, magnetize ideal clients, and propel your revenue in 2024 while working part-time hours. I'm your host and intuitive business consultant, Megan Camille, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you today to Whitney Freya. Welcome, Whitney.
Thank you, Megan. I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to have you here. And for those of you who may be new to Whitney, she has been a trailblazer in the soulful art orbit since 1996. She has 4 published books on new paradigm creativity. Her latest is 30 Days to Unstoppable, Be the Dream Made Visible. Her online certification training has created 500 plus creatively fit coaches worldwide, a community united in their commitment to awakening the creative spirits within as many people as possible. She hosts in-person retreats and trainings for women entrepreneurs, including her Women's Synergy Collective. You can receive the full spectrum of possibility with whitneyfreya.com. Yay! I feel like this is such a fabulous connection here because you're doing something soul, which is your talent, your creativity, your passion, and you're allowing it to be a way of financial freedom. You're allowing it to be a way that you monetize your mission. So, will you just kind of take us back a little bit to your origin story of how you decided this was a path for you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Megan. So it was 95, about 29 years ago, and I was 4 years out of college selling bookstore to door. Very convicted that I was supposed to do that until I came up with the idea. And I don't know if you all are idea people. I'm guessing you are, but I mean, I almost felt like I'd been cursed with ideas. Like in the shower, I'm like, I could do this, I could do that, like everything from like leading motorcycle tours through the Fertile Crescent to, like all kinds of things. And so I was reading a book called Zen and the Art of Making a Living. And when I picked up that book, I was like, I know, do what you love and the money will follow, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's like the Cinderella story, but I'll read the book, and anyway, it's exactly what happened. The author actually said, he quoted Nietzsche as saying, art is the proper task of life. And then the author went on to say, most of you will think this has nothing to do with you, right? And you can just picture, I know most of the people I work with, when they first are presented with paint on a canvas, oh, I can't paint. I can't even draw a straight line. You don't want me making a mess, blah, 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 right? So that's what you're saying. Most of you will think that this has nothing to do with you, but this book will insist throughout that unless you adopt an artist mentality, you will not be able to create the life of your dreams. And I was like, well, shit, damn. I want a dreamy life. Like that's the only thing I knew. I wanted an adventure. I was pretty sure I wasn't supposed to do a job that already existed, but I had no clue what that was going to be. And I had been such a wannabe artist, like an out loud vocal wannabe artist. And so I was immediately convicted between the fact that I was selling books door to door and that was nothing like school, that life was clearly way more like a blank canvas than a multiple choice test. And in college, like I thought maybe I could take the, like mixed media collage, and the prerequisites to take that class were like drawing 101, 102, painting 101, 102. And I was like, I can't do that. So I guess I can't take that class. And like the traditional art center that has registrations every 18 weeks or whatever. And it just felt really hard. So my vision, like I wrote in the margins of the book, was to open up like a gym for your right brain, where people could go to work out their creative muscle so they could go back into the art that is their life and create the change they wanted. And like literally from then on, that was my mission in life. It was the wildest thing. It was exactly what I'd like rolled my eyes at and said, this is never going to happen, and a year later, I opened the Creative Fitness Center in May 1st, 1996. And I still had never painted on a canvas. When I had gone to the art store to buy art supplies, because someone had kind of snidely remarked that maybe I should paint if I was opening an art center. I bought an easel, which I was just cracking up about this with someone, because we all do this apparently. Like we buy an easel because it just like feels like artists have easels. But then I was still too afraid to buy a canvas. So I bought a big pad of paper and some oil pastels. And that was my first like foray into, painting. So I am very in touch with like the fear and the trepidation that is surrounding creativity and painting and all that. But I felt the call, like I felt the energy, the passion for this idea. It was just like everywhere I turned, living life as art and living as a life artist was all over. And I became taken over by providing and creating a space where people could come to work out their creative muscle so that they could live life as art. And, that bricks and mortar existed from 96 to 2010. In 2004, I rebranded and partnered with a woman. We opened a wine bar right next door to the art house, which was super funny. And my first book was published in that time, The Artist Within, A Guide to Becoming Creatively Fit. And I was just like, people should not have to find me in Nashville, Tennessee in order to have this level of awakening and personal empowerment that my clients were having. Because developing your creativity is actually way easier than you think. Doing anything creative, like just scribbling, doodling with color, crayons next to your children, it doesn't matter. It stimulates, activates kind of that creative frequency. And that in and of itself will begin the domino effect of transformation in your life. It's just owning the fact that you are a creative person. And so I learned that along with my clients. So let's keep in mind, 96, there's no Facebook, no one's using emails. Like this is like the dark ages, right? And no one's talking about energy, especially in Nashville, or consciousness or manifestation or any of that. I was doing all of that as an art center owner who had zero art training, right? Like it was just coming to me, like I was visualizing, I was feeling, I was imagining people in their homes being like, we should go to the Creative Fitness Center. People would show up and I learned to put it out to the universe. I don't even know what words I used. And people would show up, but it entered me into this state of being in business that is completely heart driven, while the door-to-door sales part added this very practical structure, law of averages, numbers, get it in front of enough people. And so that's what I leaned on, and then shared the journey with my clients. And 28 plus years later, it's still lighting me up in all new ways. There have been so many more layers that have come on top of that initial journey, between the energy and quantum physics and spirituality and the divine feminine and all kinds of good stuff. And what I love is that I've been able to allow the new inspiration to weave itself into my business. And that is what I teach and promote to other people, is really creating your business journey from a place of authenticity and passion. And alongside that is the work around money and abundance, right? Because you've got to feel really comfortable asking for money and realizing you deserve money, and understanding the physics of money and that energy. And I love that conversation as well. So it's been a wild ride, to say the least. I went online in 2009 because I knew I was moving from Nashville to rural Oregon, where I live now. And so I launched my first online program March 2009. And wow, I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I have so many curiosities after that very engaging journey with you. I have some awesome curiosities here. First is, can you describe a bit of the benefits of art for an entrepreneur, right? I mean, I'm thinking many people might be like, I'm pretty busy with business and work and client fulfillment and creating new products and, learning email marketing and these sorts of things. So why would we want to actually incorporate this creativity, and how would that actually support in business?
So there's so many different examples, and I want to just kind of preface it with the fact that, our minds are kind of set up like a dual processing computer. If you want to understand that and just have so much fun, Google Dr. Jill on TED.com or TEDx.com or whatever, or it's TED.com. But we have this kind of either or way of looking at things. And we have this logical, linear, fact-based, product-oriented, which is also fear-based, past, future oriented side of us. That is the I've got to figure this out thing. Okay. So we're all familiar with that. I got to figure out my next. And then we have this other side of us that is intuitive, creative, present moment, love based, feels connected to everything, the oneness as opposed to separate, and that part of us is the part that magnetizes. It's the feminine side. It receives, where the other is that masculine and the action. So you can get your work done either by doing, figuring out, right? Or you can open to receive, download, magnetize to yourself your absolute next steps. I do a combination of both, of course, but when I'm at those familiar kind of business, entrepreneurial forks in the road, whether it's, do I start a business at all? What do I launch next? What's the promo for my birthday? What, all those kinds of things. I create space energetically, like frequency wise, so that I can receive intuitively the next calling. And I can't even tell you like all the things. My, as an example, my coaching training is, I've been called to recreate, rebrand it, right? And I started getting this like 3 or 4 years ago, thinking I should rebrand this somehow, because it had been so long. And there was nothing. It was like chunk, chunk, chunk. So I just stepped back and I was like, okay, it's not ready to be changed. This year, it's like, there's all these things. And there's this connection to the number 8. My latest course, Rise Above, has 8 lessons. We're in an 8-year. My sacred symbol for myself and my company are 2 infinity symbols together. It just so many things that it's like, of course this is happening now. Like it almost feels like there's no way I could not rebrand this right now, right? So that's, for me, that's how I want to do business. Like I want to be in flow, and I really choose like my higher self agenda, like how can I serve people the best? It's not going to come through my puny earth brain. Like I want it to come through from however you identify that infinite nature. So creativity helps you align energetically with that frequency of openness, receptivity, creative possibility, spaciousness. Like if you've ever felt this isn't working, fear, I'm not making enough money, this isn't going to work. That's like the logical linear frequency, right? That's the traditional business frequency that doesn't know how to dance with the mystery or lean into the unknown. It gets protective in those states. And the part of you that is creative loves the unknown. That's the blank canvas. Anything is possible. So the painting helps create the container within which you can receive your next best steps. And so, you can figure it out, or you can play with color, same result, but maybe even a better result on the other side, right? It's, it's the taking the step back, gaining objectivity, right? It's the same thing. Objectivity is just detaching from the like, has to make this, and being like, okay, whatever it wants to be, right? And that's when like, boom, the breakthrough comes through when you let go of trying to control it. And newsflash, ladies, you're an entrepreneur because you wanted to do the personal inner work in this lifetime. Like being an entrepreneur, you're wearing all the hats, the buck stops with you. Personal growth and business growth happen side by side, and they're pretty codependent on each other. So letting go of control and learning to trust and follow your own instinct rather than getting on Instagram and scrolling through to see who has the most followers and what she's doing. Like, no. You want to follow your own inspiration. And when you get lit up in that way, from your heart's knowing, that passion, that's when you magnetize people. And that is
Mm,
absolutely the way business is done in the new matrix. So just letting you know.
yeah, yeah. And I always say, I've chosen business as my path of spiritual evolution, right? It is always showing me what I don't know I'm actually thinking, right? Or running within my somatic. It will actually, my business will show me that. And I love, just like our title says, working part-time hours. And the only way that I've been able to lead a seven-figure business and be part-time is by balancing those two, the masculine and the feminine. And I tend to be the first to fall into a lot of overworking, right? Like overproducing, which is why I created a 3-hour work day. And one of my processes is creativity, but in a different way, which is why I'm loving this one. I'm like, I actually have can think of times where I wanted to do something creative outside of like what I typically do, like paint. And I go, I'll wait until the weekend, or, I really need to stay focused on this. And I'm realizing, like, oh, wow, that is a way in which I'm closing to flow and more inspiration and intuition pouring through me as a conduit, and actually choosing struggle and like let me figure this out sort of way, as opposed to being in the flow of it. But it also seems like you have some some solid harmony between masculine and feminine here, right? A structure that has allowed you to stay in business for a long time, right? Like that, there's people that pop in and pop out, and people that make it for a couple of years and then they're just like, oh, never mind, no, that wasn't me. And so, how have you actually been able to retain such creativity and also do the aligned actions, right? Like the grounded things that allow you to bring down your wealth into tangible results?
Yeah. Wow. We could talk about that for weeks, right? Like there are so many things popping into my mind. I mean, one of the things is I am doing what I love, which, thank goddess. And so that makes it easy. The other thing is, I've created a community with my coaching training, and so I tell them all the time, I'm like, you all inspire me. Like, I know when I show up, it also ripples out and benefits everybody. I'm not just serving my own bottom line. I'm helping other people. And then I also have a process that I encourage people to do all the time, which is, when you get kind of in overwhelm or lost in the details, those feelings, or the emails are piling up or whatever it is, it's to zoom up, rise above and get that bigger picture. And for me, always the awakening the creative spirits, raising the creative frequency on this planet has always, since 96, been one of, we are going to need this when the shit hits the fan. And, it's been a slower process than I thought, this actual fan thing happening. But what is crying out for change on all levels of our world? I mean, just throw a dart and, environment, politics, all the things. It all depends on us taking back our creative power. When we stop focusing on the fear, on what's going wrong, and focus on all of the solutions, that's when everything's going to change. So this creative mindset is foundational to like everything we want to experience in this lifetime. And so, you start tapping into that energy, and it's like, I'm going to send the emails and write the sequence. And I want other women to see the example of following your passion and creativity being something that can pay the bills, right? So it's up to you to find, like, think of a diamond. You're looking through a facet that has you like feeling, this isn't working, or I don't know if I can do this. Find a different facet, look through a different window. Like, what do you have to do to remind yourself about the reason that you started this in the first place? What is in your heart? What are you expanding in the world? And reconnect to that. I mean, clearly, since I'm teaching creativity, which keeps my creative frequency flowing, which then helps feed the business, right? So for me, not having the creative aspect would be not even possible, because that's what I'm promoting. But when you engage in that creative frequency, one of the hugest benefits is your intuition skyrockets. And that intuitive voice, like, doesn't even, like, what, technology or too many emails or what, like, it doesn't pick up on any of that at all. Your intuition is only tapped into higher subject matter, right? Like your purpose, and may all sentient beings benefit from what I'm doing, and how am I making the world a better place, or how are people healed or served or inspired or supported because of what I'm doing. That is the kind of guidance or inspiration you'll get from that intuitive voice, which comes to you when you're alone and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, not alone and quiet. I mean, I don't know, maybe doing the dishes would be a good thing, but like, you want to be alone and quiet outside. You want to be alone and quiet creating. You want to be alone and quiet dancing or drumming, or anything like that. Anything that's non-productive, that is non-linear, that is what's going to magnetize to you that intuitive consciousness that's going to give you bam, and you're going to know it. And that conviction that comes with that level of knowing, again, is magnetizing, right? Like when you're acting on that and you're feeling guided. So it's nurturing that perspective, right? And understanding that you are absolutely the creatress of your business, right? And if it's not feeling good or inspiring, it's up to you to create the change, right? To do something different, look at it differently, and cast the net wide. I mean, I know so many times, and especially, I got divorced in 2012 and went from like not really having to make money to like having to make money. And I remember being on a hike after some launch, didn't go as planned. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, how am I going to pay off this credit card? And, all these things. And by the time I got to the top of the hill, I'm like, there are so many ways I can make money. Right. So it's just not settling for the moments where you don't feel inspired or you do feel overwhelmed. It's like, okay, I'm here. Do I want to stay here? Do I choose this? No. So what do I choose to do that's going to raise my vibration so that I can attract this higher perspective? Do anything that's going to raise your vibration. Whatever, eating chocolate, hiking, getting in the bubble bath, whatever it is that's going to relax you and separate you from that frenetic lack and scarcity, is going to attract to you, because like attracts like, kind of your next highest steps. So yeah, I mean, it's it's using your tools. And meanwhile, that comes in handy if you're in a relationship or a marriage, or if you're a parent. All those things take us to the depths, right? In the darkest places sometimes. And at that point, you want to access your own staircase out, right? No one's going to come save you. So all of this is, I think, looking at it from a bigger picture. None of us exist separately. And there's so many more ways of perceiving and doing business. And that feminine and masculine, it's the enlightened masculine. It's when we allow our masculine to support the feminine. The mind is meant to support the heart. And we've had it flip-flopped because that's how we were taught. And, that, I know I'm going out of order, but my free gift is sharing the journey that I took from, leaving a relationship where business was spreadsheets and monthly monetary goals that I fought tooth and nail. Like, this is my soul work. Like, this isn't spreadsheet. This isn't about monthly monetary goals, and I had to recreate that, because the reality was I needed to make money. So how am I going to do this my way? And that's the journey I take you on in that free gift. So I'm so excited.
Yeah. I'm really appreciating that raw and real moment of like, wait, this is my soul's purpose here. Like, how are we going to spreadsheet this? That there is a both and, right? That you actually can choose to have an intention of income and let it be your soul's work. And you were talking about like stepping out of the weeds and the details and coming up into the intuition so that you have, that 30,000-foot view, which is the intuition, which reminds me of one of your topics around channeling your business. And I support people in what I call like discovering your business frequencies, which is the essence or the spirit of the business, that we are not our business, that we're collaborating and co-creating with another entity, another spirit. So will you share what you mean by channeling your business and how it works for you and how you support other people in doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually my latest book, 30 Days to Unstoppable, is around that. So what I feel like the way I've always done business is from this sense of I was given this call. I mean, I remember back when I was still, working on renovating the 1920s bungalow that I bought from the slumlord in Nashville, and feeling like, what am I doing? I was literally crying to a friend, like, what am I doing? Like, this is crazy. And but I remember explaining to him, it feels like this train has pulled into the station and is inviting me on board to engineer this train, which was, the Creative Fitness Center. And I can hop on or not. But I want to be on that train. I don't feel qualified, I don't know where this is coming from, but I want to be on that train. And so that's really taken, like, that's what the foundation of my business. So this becoming unstoppable is realizing that when you get the idea, like the train pulling up to the station, right, you're being invited into a co-creative relationship. The train needs the engineer. The train could find another engineer. It's just like Liz Gilbert and Big Magic, right? Ideas are looking for hosts. They're looking for portals. They need the person on the ground to create them into this reality. And if there's resonance, which is what's happened when you come up with the idea, whatever it is, whether it's like a new part, aspect of your business, or a new launch, or whether it's starting the business from the very beginning, there's a resonance that idea has found with you. And to be unstoppable, it's understanding that you're in a co-creative relationship. This is not the historical Whitney Freya, who has no art background, no art training, all those things, making it happen on her own. This is me opening up to receive and kind of birth, like midwife, this idea. It's just like planting a garden. You get the seed. If you want tomatoes, I mean, I would recommend planting tomato seeds, right? I mean, just like how we like, oh, I want this, but then we spend our time thinking about what we don't want. So plant the seeds that you want to grow, and you don't have to tell the tomato seed how to become a tomato plant, right? That has it all taken care of. It's in the blueprint of the seed, just like your idea has the blueprint for its manifestation within it. But it needs you to keep the ground clear of other weeds, to create space and time. It needs you to water it and get it light, nurture it and add more to it. And then allow it to grow, and then harvest it and use it, right? So that is how you become unstoppable. This is the channeling of your business, is recognizing that this is something that's wanting to come through me. And I say yes, and I'm going to stay in this co-creative relationship with, like you said, the entity that is my business. And that's how you become unstoppable. And that's how you realize, like, this business needs money to be sustainable, right? Like, I can't do my work if I can't pay my bills. I'd have to do another job, which means then I couldn't do this work. I'm pretty sure I'm serving the highest and greatest good by awakening the creative spirit in other people, rather than, I don't even know what kind of job I could get where I live right now. Right. So reconciling that, and looking at your business and the energy of it, as well as the finances and all of that is energy, is how you stay in that creative flow. But money is energy. It's an exchange. And I just had I'm often outside. I live in this county that is, 2 million acres, 7,000 people, mountains and rivers and valleys and all these things. And I was mushroom hunting yesterday. And I'm like learning, like as I'm picking mushrooms, you know, I'm learning from the mushrooms, like the mushrooms that grew up through the soft, loamy soil were kind of weak. The ones that had to punch through the strong soil were strong. And then just scanning the area, you know, looking like with this loose focus. And that's what we want to do. We want to stay detached enough from our own agenda that we're open to what is really wanting to come through us. And being in that, you know, co-creative relationship, just taking the entire responsibility of your business off your shoulders and being like, okay, show me what is meant to be, you know, next. And staying in a state of trust around that, because not everything is going to instantly explode, but you don't know the groundwork that's being laid. You know, I just got off a call with a woman. We co-created a recovery coach training, because this creative practice is incredibly supportive for women in recovery. And that has not rolled out the way we thought. And we're both like, well, we're not attached to this. Maybe we're, you know, not in alignment somewhere. And what we got back to was writing the book. And I'm like, that's what we were intended to do from the very beginning. We're like, okay, we'll write the book and see how that feels. But like, we're okay with that. And so the more you tap into the possibility, the more generous you can be. You know, the more mushrooms I was seeing, the more I could leave a couple to make sure the spores were there for the next generation of mushrooms. So when you're in abundance, you can be more generous and you can follow your intuition more. You can serve at a much higher level when you're financially abundant and, you know, not feeling guilty about that.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not feeling guilty about that, right? So anyway, it was, as always, many answers to that question, but
Always, it's multifaceted for sure.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm loving and really resonating with here is when I finally decided to surrender to divine will versus what my humanness wanted, right? And it can be simultaneously a little bit scary because I'm pretty sure I know like the best thing, the best way to do it. But when I can let that go and surrender to divine will, it actually relieves me of so much pressure. Oh, I don't have to figure this out. I'm just the conduit. Uh, if this is meant to be, then I'm going to show up 1,000,000% for it and divine will, right? If it is not meant to be, I can release with ease and grace so I can receive what is with ease and grace. I'm loving your shares, and we are coming to the close. But will you first support with the audience with like a personal process? What is something that they can do today that kind of encompasses your message here?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny, I had one idea, but I got another one. So I'm going to share that. So I'm going to just zoom down. So I have this, you know, just little, whatever this is, spiral notebook. So I recommend having a business journal that maybe becomes your visual journal, right? Maybe you see things in magazines or wherever that you cut out and put in here. And I love my Hemi set. I feel like I am not a representative of Hemi, but these are like watercolor, but they're opaque. So one of the exercises that I often prescribe to people is simply covering a page with color. And so you pick whatever color feels the yummiest. Magenta is always a thing. And simply make marks on the page as long as it takes. And even like say this was the page, right? Maybe you get a different brush to go in there. So in other words, we're layering with the same color. So you're not making any choices about that. And switching up the thickness of the brush to continue to fill in. You're going to go farther than you thought you could. So you could set the your phone for 5 minutes and you're literally covering a page with color. And I would highly recommend doing this at a point where you feel like overwhelmed, stressed, you know, maybe you just got an upsetting email or, you know, the launch hasn't, you know, anything like that, where you're just like, ugh, and go to this and cover the page with color and notice your energy before and after. And literally just this is getting you into that creative frequency where you're going to be able to hear, see, perceive whatever your highest, like, what is this, a chocolate chip cookie? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Literally just covering a page with color. And I will, I do want to interject. I want to offer a symbol that can serve as a yantra, if you like. So a yantra is a visual mantra that is meant to kind of clear the slate. So this is a diamond. It's a, four-sided, kind of like a square. So imagine that you're feeling kind of stuck in here, right? I just did a little smiley face. And this is symbolic of kind of that logical linear way of thinking. And then invite in, so there are two ways of doing this. So invite in the energy of love. Okay. And this part, well, from my standpoint, you're seeing it opposite. I'll do it upside down. This heart is symbolic of the spaciousness, like everything that's possible. And then you can draw another heart down here, which is symbolic of the love coming from the earth. So if you're familiar with the grounding charging meditation, right, this is the same thing. And when you unite these two hearts, right, you get this diamond space in the middle. This is you as the union of above and below. And this becomes this diamond when you remember the love that inspired your business in the first place, your passion for your clients. And this symbol is also a two infinity symbols. Right? You can draw the exact same symbol with two infinity symbols. So I use this to connect to this like infinite flow of inspiration, energy, love, resources that's available constantly above and below. These symbols, working with symbols in general, bypass that language center that is pulling from your past because you've learned language, and using that to project in the future. Symbols have no baggage. So like when I was really after my divorce and financially not yet where I needed to be, I would do another exercise where I would literally just scribble and see what I see in the scribble. And I asked like for a yantra to help me like stay in my heart and center for my business. And I got a hot air balloon, which it seems not that hard to find a hot air balloon in a scribble. But anyway, I was like, okay, what does a hot air balloon mean? And what it led to was to keep my vibration high and share my business from that place. And if I did, there would be nothing but blue skies. And I had been afraid that that I wasn't good with numbers, and so I wouldn't be able to grow my business. So whenever I thought of that, I would go back to the hot air balloon and I would just imagine myself rising up, and it would give me permission to go paint or go hike. And then I'd share, you look on my YouTube channel, there are a bajillion videos of me hiking, walking, getting inspired, sharing, so three quick processes. Cover a page with color, draw this symbol, which we call the Freya knot, because when I was launching my Whitney Freya, I named myself Freya after my divorce, and launching a line of sacred symbol stencils, the woman working with me was like, let's look up a sacred symbol for Freya. And she found this symbol that said Freya Symbol. And I had made this symbol on 12/21/12.
Wow.
At a retreat. I'm like, I know that symbol. Anyway, so yeah, just tap into the magic. Reach out to me if you want more. There's lots of ways to play.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Whitney. And the one last thing, I know that you did share what your complimentary gift is, but will you just share it one more time? Because it is going to be below this video right now. So what is that complimentary gift?
So about a year ago, the woman who helps me with my business, who has a digital marketing firm, we launched the Women's Synergy Collective to create a space for women entrepreneurs to step into, remember how to do business, the feminine, magical, sacred way. And so we network, we learn marketing, and empowerment are like the three foundations of that. And so in this free gift, I share with you an art journaling exercise, like a story that takes you through how I redefined abundance and money and finances for myself, moving from spreadsheet land into, Whitney Freya land, business wise. And it's a process that you can use to remember into your relationship to abundance and money and finances and prosperity and business. And I filmed it on the shores of Ikaria, Greece. So lots of visual fun as well as creativity, and really making sure, you have to make sure, and it can take time, it's fine, but you have to make sure that you feel great saying the word business, and that I make money doing my passion. Like those, you want to feel like no hesitation, no resistance to those things, because ladies, we need you abundant, sharing your gifts. This world is where it is because women weren't able to lend their full selves to the palette, so to speak. I don't believe in victims. We're infinite beings. We got nothing but time. We created this amazing opportunity for us right now to get to take back our power and share it and express it. And the world is waiting for you, and we need you. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much. And I mean, I really feel that the divine loves remembering, right? And we're in a remembrance of the divine feminine. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting. So thank you for your message today and for your support and all that you do for your clients. You can find Whitney's complimentary gift below, as well as her website. Thank you so much for your wisdom today. And we'll see you next time on Business Beyond the Matrix. Bye for now.